He's like, yo, what you want today? And I'm like, I mean, shit, I'm gonna get mine today. He goes, oh, I'm just making sure because they said there was a 75. Would you say there was like a 75 out there that's like out totaling you? Yeah, he said some crazy shit before I stepped inside the gym. I was like, oh no, he got me up right now. So yeah, man, shout out to Perk. The biggest compliment I could give a lifter is your performance and how you are as an individual, or just like, you know, how strong you are motivates me to be stronger individual. I've said that about Taylor. I think I've said that about Jesus and other lifters as well. But like, for sure, like when I watched that performance, I was like, damn, this is definitely not making me want to train harder and shit. It almost makes the hair on the back of your neck rise up a little bit because it's like, damn, am I out total me? Like, and it's not that I think he's gonna out total me, because I think a lot of people, honestly, I'm gonna talk my shit for like 5 seconds. I think people got me up. Like, I think people really got me up. This is competitor Russ speaking now. I think I got me up. I'm not one of them little 83s, bro. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm different, and I've proven that I'm different. So, if anything, I'm just super excited to compete next, to show you guys. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I was so annoyed over the weekend, because I'm like, man, now this guy gets to like do a victory lap, and then the conversation now and the tide now is like, oh, like Perk is the best, like 75 and 83. It's just like, I have to eat that though. I can't really say nothing. All I can say is like, all right, shit, just watch next time I compete.
The last time Russel Orhii competed as an 82.5 or 83 kilograms athlete was in 2022 at the USAPL Mega Nationals. Prior to competing at the Mega Nationals, shortly after defending his World Championship title for the second time, possibly unforeseen by many, Russel suddenly announced his withdrawal from competing at the IPF Global stage. Instead, opted to compete exclusively on the national stage within the USAPL Federation.
I think we all know why we're here today. This decision wasn't easy. I had a lot of federations reach out and want me to compete there, but after talking with my team, my family and friends, I think it's time that I finally decide to go back to the USAPL.
Let's go! Let's go!
Fast forward to the 2023 season, Russel, possibly spurred by the early season historic performances at the Sheffield Championships, amongst other unknown variables or causes. However, almost over a month prior to the USAPL Raw Nationals, where the athlete was much expected to compete, suddenly announced his withdrawal from not only competing at the Nationals, but from the Federation as a whole. Instead, deciding to rejoin the IPF-affiliated Powerlifting America. Consequently, rejoining the IPF-affiliated federation meant that Russel incurred a reluctant suspension from competing.
That was pretty easy. So now let's break down the reason as to why I'm not doing Nationals this year. I'm trying to figure out the fastest and easiest way to explain it. I don't want to be like talking on this clip for like 5 minutes. So basically, I'm leaving the USAPL. The reason why I'm leaving the USAPL is because I want to go back to being a world champion powerlifter again. The USAPL, for people that don't know, it used to be the IPF affiliate, but they didn't want to uphold the same drug testing standards, whatever that reason was, and they split from IPF. So the IPF then created a new federation called Powerlifting America for the Americans to have their way to get in through IPF Worlds and all that kind of stuff. So that became the new American affiliate, and I decided to stay with the USAPL, thinking that it will allow me to grow the business of the Better brand and do collaborations with Corrupt to Strength and all that kind of stuff. And I also thought that creatively and structure-wise, they would be a lot more free to do more things to kind of replicate almost like a UFC type of like production value or some of the bigger sport leagues. I thought the IPF was kind of like limiting them from doing that, so I decided to stay with the USAPL, just think that'll help us grow business-wise and all that kind of stuff. But as I've done that was like 2 years ago or so. As I've done that, the IPF has actually made like bigger strides than the USAPL with stuff like Powerlifting America, just like those like little things that kind of add to what it means to be a powerlifter, and it makes it feel as though you're watching like something of like the NFL or like the NBA, doing post-meet interviews, hyping up different matches. They don't have like a big user base or a big lifter base, but you can tell that they're going on the right directions. They listen to people that are in position, and they want to work with people that are in position to help expand the sport and grow the sport. And I just kind of like what they have going on. I like what they have going on over there. And yeah, I've watched now 2 world competitions without me being there, and I get a lot of FOMO. I miss being able to call myself a world champion. I've been able to do that since 2021, I believe. So it just feels like there's like this big gap missing. After I finished up nationals, there's kind of like nothing else for me to do. Like, I don't want to do like the Carolina Pro or the Virginia Pro or meets like that, because I've been to the IPF stage, I've been to the world stage. I know what it feels like to be a world champion, and those weeks matter. Whereas I'm just doing a meet for like fucking dots, which, like, to me, that doesn't motivate me. That doesn't get me into the mood of like competing. Like, there's things out of my control when it comes to that, and I just don't really compete for those type of reasons. And that's what currently USAPL kind of on. It's more so like pushing dots and all that kind of shit, and that's just not my wavelength. And I'm much rather compete in a federation that allows me to become a world champion. And then on top of that, there's now the introduction of Sheffield. Sheffield was a big surprise to everyone in the powerlifting community. Feels like this big meet that was like, the production value is what I always thought powerlifting could be, and it's scary because it could get even better than that, which like excites to me, and I want to be part of that. It's not even like the money. Like, and there's one thing like you guys could take from me, or that like I've been very consistent on, is that I don't give a fuck about like money. Like, money doesn't really move me in that sense. It's more so like about the opportunity to grow and expand and get to be like more of a professional league. And I think that Sheffield is on track to that. And just given all the cool things that are happening over there, I want to be a part of that. And I feel as though me doing nationals, yeah, well, getting into that, a little different day too. We're on 345, so I've done a pretty good job. But the reason why I have to drop out of nationals now, because what my original plan was to do nationals and then ship back over to the IPF. But the way that the scheduling and the structure of how the year can go out for 2024, I can't do that. I was an IPF lifter before, and they have different rules. So in order for me to accomplish the goals I want to accomplish next year in 2024, I just can't do nationals. The timing is too close. So if I want to go back to the IPF, I have to serve a 6-month suspension. And that suspension starts whenever I kind of like reinstate myself, right? So if I were to compete in nationals this year, right, I have to compete, obviously, then I finish up nationals and then issue a reinstatement back into the IPF. And then I would then start serving my 6-month suspension, meaning I can't do anything IPF. I can't do anything in the IPF until that suspension is lifted. So that would have made me eligible to compete probably like in late March or April of 2024. And by that time, Powerlifting America Nationals would have already happened. And I think they would have already be putting up their nominees to go to Worlds, right? So I like the timing, I just can't do it. So instead of actually doing nationals and issuing my reinstatement after I do nationals, I was like, I could just reinstate myself now and then forego nationals, and I'll be eligible in time for Powerlifting America Nationals, which is going to be next year, which will then allow me to do IPF Worlds of next year. I think I'm missing out on Sheffield anyways, which wasn't like a big priority for 2024. But the reason why I need to do that now is obviously because of timing.
Finally, in the 2024 Powerlifting America National Trials, wherein Russel entered the national trials as being the most apparent to win the trials, whilst he went up against his closest rivals, such as Christopher Perez, who was more battle-ardent, considering he had been competing throughout the 2023 season, and who also had a respectable PR total of 820 kilograms, alongside a projected total baseline ranging between 827.04 kilograms to 829.16 kilograms. Other contenders for the path to the IPF World Classic Championships included the veteran Angelo Fortino. Whilst there was public confidence in his ability to successfully claim a path to the IPF World Classic Championships, there lay an increasing shroud of doubt on the level of dominance that he may display on the platform after an extensive period away from competition. as some had become arguably accustomed to witnessing an athlete who historically tends to supremely dominate his competitors. Russel, weighing 82.9 kilograms, immediately made his presence felt by opening with a squat of 310 kilograms.
Turn to the IPF. He has dominated this weight class, and he returns to action today.
Do we have any Russel Orhii fans with us here today?
World record is 320.5 kilos, if you're wondering. Russel has squatted as heavy as 340 kilos. Now he gets big, and he hasn't lifted it in a year. Let's see how the weight cut impacts his strength levels.
Well,
okay, well.
based on that, not much.
Well.
And the lift is good, 2-1.
2-1, and that's all he needs.
Already 10 kilograms or 3.33% above his 2021 squat opening at the USAPL Raw Nationals, where he extended the total world record with a historical total of 843 kilograms, whilst his fellow compatriots, Christopher, opened with 265 kilograms.
The big threes and the 83s is going to be obviously Russel Orhii, Angelo Fortino, who's behind Chris, and Chris himself. Marcellus handling Chris.
There's just half a kilo between Chris and Angelo.
It's an extremely tight battle, and obviously Angelo has that big deadlift. He'll have the final say between him and Chris, but Chris can make him load up and overload more than he's capable with that final deadlift. Wow, 265 offers little resistance. And he looks unfazed.
Resulting in a marginal difference of 45 kilograms or 16.98%. Angelo, on the other hand, the marginal difference between Russel stood at 27.5 kilograms or 9.73%, with an opening squat of 282.5 kilograms.
I know it's just openers, but oftentimes when you got a big battle, it's easy to overanalyze openers. We all lean in to get a bit of a take on it, 3 white lights.
Interestingly, it is the third time in his sporting history that Russel has opened with a squat which is 300 kilograms or more. Historically, on average, the rather imposing Russel's average squat opening stands at 278 kilograms. Therefore, with an opening squat of 310 kilograms, such equates to being 11.51% above his highlighted historical total of 278 kilograms. Prior to competing at the Powerlifting America National Trials, Russel's baseline squat projection ranged between 328.61 kilograms to 330.21 kilograms. In response to Angelo's 295 kilograms second squat attempt, amazingly, Russel increased his second squat attempt by 15 kilograms, which is 1.12 kilograms below his average second squat increment of 13.88 kilograms. In turn, squatted a second attempt of 325 kilograms.
Intensity for this one smacks the weights around a little bit. What do you think, Meg?
It was a little bit of work. He's got more in the tank. It was a little bit of work, but it looked good.
Therefore, already attaining 98.90% margin of his lower end projected baseline squat of 328.61 kilograms, which was relatively 1.11 kilograms above JamaRR's former world record squat of 327.5 kilograms. It was clearly evident that Russel was on a world record pace to break JamaRR's squat world record of 327.5 kilograms, which has stood since 2022. Even though Angelo managed to squat his PR squat of 302.5 kilograms.
Thank you, Meg. So we're close to the limit. Where's the limit on the day? You never know. Every day's a new when you get under that bar. 7.5 kilo jump. We thought 295 moved well.
Yeah, it did. It moved very well, very similar to his first, I thought.
7.5 kilos should be there. And this is a tight battle. Depth looks good.
He's gonna push through that.
Yeah, slow and steady.
Oh, man.
He had an expression on his face like, wow, I wasn't sure about that one myself.
Oh, that's great.
And he grabs his lower back. I think he's playing around, though. He's fine.
And Christopher progressed the squat to 295 kilograms.
You can't miss.
You cannot. All of these kilos matter.
Now, obviously, Chris, handled by Marcellus, he's been in a lot of battles handling himself. They have a game plan. 280 moved well for Chris. I think 15 kilos shouldn't break him. 15 kilos from opener to mid, and from the second attempt to the third.
Yeah, his second attempt was very fast. This is work, but he does it.
And that was probably right on
Great
the money
third.
for the third attempt. Perfect attempt selection. Any more would be greedy, and he might not have got it.
No, that was perfect attempt selection by him and his coach.
Which equates to a 1.72% progression. It was simply not enough to threaten the unfolding dominance of Russel. For Russel's final squat attempt, he amazingly, after almost 2 years away from competition, quite brazenly increased his third squat attempt by 5 kilograms, which is 4.45 kilograms below his historic squat increment, as a 82.5 or 83 kilograms athlete.
Almost like there's no doubt. And he can scrap if he needs to. We've seen it several times, even at the world level. I remember 2019 against Brett Gibbs when he won and defeated the great Brett Gibbs. He had an amazing fight on his third squat. He's well beyond that weight now, though. Wow, that might have moved a little better than 325.
I was going to say the same thing.
After all, squatted a world record setting squat of 330 kilograms, which is both quintessentially 7 kilograms above his prior PR squat of 323 kilograms, or 2.17%, and 3 kilograms, or 0.91%, above JamaRR's prior world record squat of 327.5 kilograms. It will be fascinating to witness whether JamaRR will attempt to reclaim his world record within the immediate future. Nevertheless, a 330 kilograms world record squat highly signaled his return to the sport. It's worth noting that Russel is the only athlete in the history of the 82.5 or 83 kilograms weight class to have broken the world record squat not once or twice, but 4 times. For the second segment of the trials, the fight between Angelo Fortino and Russel subsequently shifted. Christopher Perez, with whom Russel had an average lead advantage of 41.67 kilograms throughout the first round, lost a degree of momentum as Russel opened with a bench of 180 kilograms, which is 8.08 kilograms below his average opening bench of 171.92 kilograms.
This doesn't feel like training at the gym.
It's a little different, but he got right back to it.
Yeah, he rose to the occasion. He thought, you know what, I was a stitch shocked on how I felt out there. He wasn't entirely happy with his execution, and when you're squatting weights like Russ and you're disappointed with your execution, that says something. He holds himself to a very high standard. the highest of standards. And Russ, 180, easy work.
However, since 2018, Russel's average opening stood at 182.08 kilograms. Prior to the end of the 2018 season, his opening bench stood at 163.21 kilograms, which means that within the last 5 years, Russel's opening has increased by a decent margin of 11.56%. If compared with some of the all-time top 10 greatest 82.5 or 83 kilograms athletes, 5-year open bench press progression, Russel is 3.78% below the group's average opening of 15.34%. For a second bench attempt, Russel, who increased his bench by 5 kilograms with a bench press of 185 kilograms.
5 kilo jump for him. 180 was pretty easy once he got his footing proper. We think it was the footing. $842.5 is the total that Russel needs to beat. That was smooth.
Very
and
well.
easy. Yeah.
Looked like whatever the problem was, he figured it out. Not a problem anymore.
Wasn't enough to gain ground, as Christopher sustained a relentless leading streak with a second bench press of 200 kilograms.
207.5. Let's see how this moves. 10 kilo jump here.
Currently his best is 202.5.
Now we're getting close to that.
So it's definitely in the wheelhouse if he's having a good day.
Oh, I think it might be a big ask, though. I think we're a little too close to the end to load up a national record, but...
providing the athlete a 15 kilograms lead advantage. If we are to consider the manner in which Russel historically decides to bill his totals, the bench press on average stood at 23.23% of his totals, in parallel to Christopher, whose bench reliance on average stood at 25.03% of the athlete's totals. Such could highlight some underlying reason for Russel's performance. It's clear that Russel relies substantially on the squat and deadlift disciplines, with the squat accounting for 37.4% of his total and deadlift accounting for 39.37%. Nevertheless, even though trailing behind Christopher by an average margin of 12.5 kilograms throughout the second round of the national trials, Russel finished with a final bench attempt of 190 kilograms.
To make his selection on Team USA secured, if he hits this in his opening deadlift, he'll be at 837.5 already. If he misses this, he's probably looking pretty good to still hit, but this will really start to take it out of even question. A little bit of work there on the day.
Definitely a good call. Definitely the right call.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they loaded the bar exactly as they should today.
Whilst Christopher continued to outflank Russel with a final bench attempt of 202.5 kilograms.
Communication with your lifter and take what's there on the day, and they've adjusted exactly on the money. And Chris Perez, 202.5, I think this is the appropriate call as well.
I do too, and this matches his bench PR previously, and I think it's definitely the right call for the day.
200 was work for a second. 2.5 kilos doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're in a battle as close as he is with Angelo, it could make the difference. Oh wow, okay, that moved easier than 200.
Hey, that's what they say about bench, you know?
Therefore, matching his competition bench press PR of 202.5 kilograms, it's important to note that for the last 4 meets, it's realized that after the 2019 season, Russel is experiencing a consecutive regressive bench, which is regressing on average by 0.97% over the last 4 meets, specifically whilst competing as an 82.5 or 83 kilograms athlete. If we were to account for the manner in which the athlete decided to build his totals between the 2019 and 2022 powerlifting seasons. His bench reliance stood at 22.66%, a relative fall of 0.82% if compared with his average bench reliance of 23.48% prior to the 2019 season. Instead, there is an increment of 1.05% for his average squat reliance, which stood at 38.13% over the last 4 meets, in parallel to Russel's average squat reliance of 37.08% prior to the commencement of the 2019 season. Also, his average deadlift reliance of 39.44% declined slightly by a margin of 0.25% between 2019 and 2022. All of this may explain his continuous bout of regression, as it's probable that Russel strategically decided to largely focus on the squat to build his totals over the last 4 meets. To be honest, the bench discipline isn't Russel's strongest discipline, unlike the squat, where he currently holds the world record. For instance, he's currently positioned at around number 62 on the all-time bench list, within the 82.5 or 83 kilograms weight class. During the 3rd round of the national trials, momentum increased significantly. Angelo, who was trailing behind throughout the bench press trials, opened with a magnificent deadlift of 327.5 kilograms.
That was smooth and easy.
This was the 2nd time in the athlete's sporting history as he opened with a 327.5 kilograms deadlift. Meanwhile, Christopher, who had been leading throughout the bench trials, lost ground with an opening deadlift of 300 kilograms.
Hasn't missed a lift yet. Neither is Angelo, neither is Russ.
So right now, Chris and Angelo's projected forecasted total is the exact same.
Oh my gosh, the 83 men are living up like the 69 women, and
Sure
that
are.
was smooth.
That was very smooth.
He was already trailing behind Angelo by a margin of 27.5 kilograms or 9.17%, as well as Russel's opening deadlift of 312.5 kilograms.
This, he's already at 832.5.
832.5.
He only needs
Another 10.
842.5, or he's got to beat 842.5, pardon me. That was easy.
Quite quick.
I think they actually dropped this opener.
Did they?
I believe last time when we looked at the prognosis,
Russel had opened with the same weight during the 2021 USAPL Raw Nationals, where he broke the previous total record of 833 kilograms and set a new marvelous raw record total of 843 kilograms. This ensured his continued stronghold in the 82.5 or 83 kilograms weight class. On average, Russel, as highlighted earlier, has a deadlift reliance of 39.37% and typically opens with a deadlift of 290 kilograms. Therefore, his 312.5 kilograms deadlift opening was a 7.76% increment over his average opening of 290 kilograms. Even though Russel was trailing behind Angelo by a margin of 15 kilograms or 4.8% after his first deadlift attempt, amazingly increased the second deadlift attempt by 17.5 kilograms, which was in parallel 2.5 kilograms above Russel's second deadlift attempt of 327.5 kilograms at the 2021 USAPL Raw Nationals, as mentioned earlier, where he managed to further extend the world record total, increasing his deadlift by a margin of 17.5 kilograms. Also reflects being 2.5 kilograms above his typical second incremental deadlift attempt of 15 kilograms. This resulted in a deadlift of 330 kilograms.
For Team USA.
This is the unofficial world record, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get behind me right now.
That's pretty smooth as well.
Sure is.
So there it is. Russel Orhii will be going to Lithuania.
And ultimately, a new monster world record total of 850 kilograms, which is 0.28% and or 2.41 kilograms below his top end baseline projection of 852.41 kilograms. Absolutely shattering his previous world record total of 843 kilograms, which has stood since 2021, impressively, with only his second deadlift attempt. With this, an 850 kilograms total effectively gave Russel a relatively comfortable lead advantage over both Angelo by a margin of 32 kilograms or 3.91% and 32.5 kilograms above Christopher. Despite Angelo consistently yielding an average lead advantage of 16.5 kilograms after both the first and second deadlift attempts over the front runner, Russel's world record squat of 330 kilograms, coupled with his pacing on the bench, significantly provided the gifted athlete with an opportunity to crush the previous world record total of 843 kilograms. This firmly secured his path to the upcoming World Championships for the fourth time in his sporting history. After sealing his victory with a second deadlift attempt of 330 kilograms, everything afterwards boiled down to make a firm and bold statement about his return to the sport of powerlifting. After watching Christopher match his PR deadlift of 330 kilograms for his third and final deadlift attempt,
Can he do it again? Locks it out, looks good to me.
Russel, as stated earlier, who had already clinched the victory, went for a whopping 340 kilograms in his last attempt.
We've never seen an 83 kilo lifter, total 860. Russel looking to take us into new ground. If anyone could do it, it's Russ.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's work, but it's honest
back.
work. And Russ is back, ladies and gentlemen. And that's a warning shot to the rest of the 83s. The king has returned.
Our next lifter is Angelo Fortino.
Which excitedly pushed his world record total above his top end baseline projection of 852.5 kilograms, resulting in a jaw-dropping world record total of 860 kilograms, which relatively superseded his baseline projection of 852.41 kilograms by a margin of 0.89% or 7.59 kilograms. After almost 2 years of hiatus from competition, Russel ended the Powerlifting America National Trials with both an amazing squat and total world record, alongside a KPI score of 86.99%, in the end calming all doubts that may have lingered